Most people always wonder why someone would get into the wine business. And the first thing they assume is, oh, your family's been doing it for years. Truth is, my father tried it for years in the 70s and the 80s and mostly failed. It was awful. Mm-hmm. But Karen and I really like the atmosphere of wine.
Mm-hmm. Wineries often use volunteer crews. These typically come out of the wine club, so that's a good way to get involved, is join a wine club of your favorite winery. Here Doug is briefing the volunteers on the safety of this operation. And yeah, there is some science that goes into this as well. There's a solution that has to go on every batch of grapes, and this solution is enzyme and sulfur.
And I love the people that come into this winery, and we meet and we talk, and they all got a story. Those are why we got into this, and that's what I so enjoy about this.
Every one of these bins of grapes has to be tested as well, and so here Sue is doing the testing. So the business end of the crush process is a machine called a destemmer. The grapes in whole bunches show up on top. The stems come out the backside, which is sort of what we're looking at, and the grape juice mixture falls down on this huge auger that's going to pump up to the tank. So this is a grape bin, and all over Colorado right now, bins are moving grapes from vineyards and into wineries, whether that's a few hundred yards or a 5-hour drive. It's about 1,000 pounds of Merlot you're looking at. This device is what tips the bin so the grapes fall into the destemmer. It needs to be lifted up, so it gets strapped to a forklift so it can be lifted up and placed right above the destemmer.
Like this year, 2020, we've just gotten our grapes for it. We've gotten Chardonnay in so far, and we've got Merlot, a little bit of Cab Sauv, and a little bit of Viognier. And this was a strange year. It was really dry, and so the grapes matured differently. It was really hot. So we were 2 weeks ahead of schedule picking them this year.
So the grapes in this video come from Talbot Farms in Palisade. Talbot family's been growing fruit in western Colorado for over 100 years, and you'd be surprised how many of the Colorado wines contain Talbot fruit.
The specifications on them are great. They're all right on. We've got about 24 bricks, which is just the right amount of sugar in them. The acid level's good. We're pretty excited about them.
You'd be surprised how many wineries on the western slope will let you go pick fruit with them if you ask nicely. I recommend a trip. Okay, I'm mildly afraid of heights, but this giant tube pumping the grape slurry mixture into this tank, I just had to get up there and see what it looked like on the inside. That pipe is bouncing and carrying on, and climbing up next to it was uncomfortable, but this view was incredible. Well, it was fun seeing the wine go into that tank, but keep in mind it's still got to ferment, and then it's still got to go into these barrels and age. And then after aging, it gets to be that delicious thing you want to drink. But not to worry, Kingman has plenty of older vintages sitting around waiting for you to come in and try.
So this has been all about relationships, just as you suggested. And you'll find some interesting characters. I think it'd give you a whole new impression of Colorado wine if you got in and experienced the people and the place where their wines are made.
So what's stopping you? How about go out and experience some Colorado wine?